Hello, friend. In our video about Churchill, we talked about his leadership style and how he managed to turn the tide of public opinion in his favor. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend that you do so. Because in that video, we discuss how Churchill became prime minister in the first place. But now it's time to talk about what many consider to be Churchill's greatest quality, his grit. You see, when people think of Winston Churchill today, they think of him as a man who never gave up. A man who was willing to do whatever it took to protect his country. And that is why today we're going to be discussing 5 ways in which Churchill showed incredible grit. Number 1. During the Battle of Britain, Churchill refused to leave London, even though he was told that it wasn't safe. As you can probably imagine, being Prime Minister of the United Kingdom during the Battle of Britain was a very stressful job. There were German bombers trying to destroy London and the entire nation, and so many people were killed or injured that the hospitals were at maximum capacity. But even though he was told to leave London by his own security detail, Churchill refused to budge. He famously said, "I may be able to exert some influence from here for good or evil, but I would be quite useless in Canada or any other place." And so he stayed in his post in 10 Downing Street while bombs were falling all around him. No. 2. When his wife and daughter were taken hostage by German forces, Churchill's reaction was to continue working on his war strategy. You see, in 1940, just 2 months after the beginning of the war, Churchill's wife and daughter were taken hostage by German forces. This was a very traumatic event for Churchill, but he didn't allow himself to become unhinged. Instead, he put on a brave face and continued working on his war strategy. He knew that if he lost his cool, then the entire country would panic. And that's exactly what a wartime leader must do. They must never give in to despair. No. 3. When faced with impossible odds in the war against Germany, Churchill never lost faith in his nation's ability to prevail. When faced with impossible odds in a war against Germany, Churchill never lost faith in his nation's ability to prevail. Even when it seemed like the Germans were invincible, Churchill refused to give up. He famously said, "We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender." These words have become a symbol of Britain's resistance during World War II. And they're a testament to Churchill's own personal grit. Number 4. After the D-Day invasion, Churchill worked tirelessly to ensure that the Allied forces were able to hold on to their gains in France. You see, after the D-Day invasion, the Allied forces were in a precarious position. They had suffered heavy casualties, and the Germans were counterattacking. But Churchill worked tirelessly to ensure that they were able to hold on. He personally requested more supplies and reinforcements be sent to the front lines, and he worked closely with the generals to coordinate the defense of France. Without Churchill's grit and determination, it's possible that the Allied forces would have been pushed back into the sea. And number 5, throughout the entirety of World War II, Churchill refused to give in to despair, no matter how bleak the situation looked. There were many times throughout World War II when it seemed like the Germans were about to win, but Churchill never allowed himself to become discouraged. He knew that if he did, then the rest of the country would follow suit. And that's why he always remained calm and collected even when the odds were stacked against him. So those are just 5 ways in which Churchill showed incredible grit. Do you admire Churchill's grit? Let me know in the comments below. And, as always, thank you so much for watching.